calling from my cell phone. I don't know if you guys figured out who did that to Michael's carpet yet, but I have a theory that involves an interdepartmental conspiracy. Everybody in the office. We need to talk.
Okay, so if you've been an Office fan over the years, you're no stranger to some of the theories that buzz around, ranging from Michael Scott actually being a genius, or Kevin Malone being a true genius hiding behind his persona of stupidity, all the while embezzling money from the company, to the big debate on who the Scranton Strangler really is. Many suspect Toby. A lot of people even think that the Dunder Mifflin Scranton branch, despite being a money pit, was actually kept open by the documentary company filming it. Kevin might have also been in on it by fudging the books, intentionally or not. However, there is one theory about Michael Scott's former boss, Ed Truck, that is yet to be fully discovered, despite the writers leaking some details. Who killed him? Did he even die? Was he killed by the Scranton Strangler? Or did Creed even have some involvement? It seems like he knew quite a lot about the events of his death, but at the same time, maybe there is something bigger going on behind the scenes. In this theory, we are looking at Ed Truck's mysterious death. But stay with me, this is a new theory you haven't heard before. Ed Truck makes his first appearance on the show in Season 2, Episode 14, at minute 16:05. He is noticeably perturbed by the cameras, and he is very shifty. He immediately wants to go upstairs and inside the building, and right away he asks Michael what's up with his pension, alluding to the fact that there is an internal issue and he's part of it. He tells Michael you can't expect to be friends with everyone, that he will always be looked at as a boss first. Ed is brought up again later in Season 3, Episode 4, Grief Counseling. When Jan talks to Michael on the phone, she said, "We lost Ed Truck. Ed Truck died over the weekend," very matter-of-factly.
So I wanted to let you know that we lost Ed Truck.
Okay, let me see if I have his cell.
Ed died over the weekend.
Oh, wow.
When Michael Scott finds out his former boss is killed, he starts to milk the attention from his coworkers after realizing that Kelly was more than happy to console him during this time of grieving. You can see this immediate change in his persona at minute 237.
Oh, Michael, that's such terrible news. You must feel so sad.
Yes, I am. It's very sad. Because he was my boss.
Michael then goes around the office trying to get his coworkers to feel something about Ed Truck and his passing. Quite unsuccessfully, I might add.
Well, that's a shame. Ed was a good guy.
That's right. You worked with him. So did Creed. Well, I'll be in my office in case anybody wants to drop by, cheer me up.
His behavior is rather cringeworthy, but it makes an excellent episode as usual, where Michael wears his heart on his sleeve in what is possibly an extremely manipulative manner. But this episode might be one that has even more layers than you ever realized. During a conversation between Creed, Michael, and Dwight, Creed confirms that Ed Truck was decapitated.
It's a real shame about Ed, huh?
Yeah.
Ed was decapitated.
What? Really?
He was drunk as a skunk. He was flying down Route 6. He slides under an 18-wheeler. Pop, it snaps right off.
He was drunk as a skunk. He was flying down Route 6. He slides under an 18-wheeler. Pop, snaps right off, referring to his head. Dwight, known for his sheer masculinity and survivalist knowledge, with his vast expertise, comments, saying,
"That is the way to go. Instant death, very smart."
Which, if you believe in Dwight's knowledge, this might imply that Ed Truck's accident might not have been an accident at all, but instead a surefire way to put him out of his misery quickly. Creed then says humans can go on living for hours without their head.
You know, a human can go on living for several hours after being decapitated.
You're thinking of a chicken.
What did I say?
So even if he's credible, why does Creed know so much? ScreenRant.com further breaks down the episode, discussing how Creed isn't really the most reliable source of information, but he is one of the longest tenured employees. He probably stayed in touch with Ed or another mutual connection that would have informed him about Ed's decapitation. Screen Rant investigates further, revealing that the writer did later confirm that Ed was in fact decapitated in a car accident. Jen Colada is one of the writers of Season 3, Episode 4, and confirmed to Mashable writers that Creed's story was in fact real. They wanted the episode to be something that would stir up Michael Scott, and they spent a considerable amount of time trying to figure out the best way to make his former boss die.
The guy who had my job has died, and nobody cares.
Now this is when things get interesting. Let's shift from Season 3, Episode 4 to its mirrored counterpart, Season 4, Episode 3, Dunder Mifflin Infinity Part 1.
What is the actual deal with these things in terms of testicles?
What?
At lunch, Michael and Jan are talking about ageism brought into the office by Ryan, who is pushing the new system on the Scranton branch, talking about starting a new website and issuing complicated cell phones to its sales team.
So, what's Ryan doing here?
Oh. I don't know. They're launching a big new business plan, new website, blah, blah, blah.
During this conversation, Jan brings up that Ed Truck had brought a lawsuit against Dunder Mifflin a couple of years ago. She said that Ed Truck tried to bring a suit against Dunder Mifflin when they tried to force a mandatory retirement age, which would force out older branch managers. She said so very abruptly and casually that he threatened with a lawsuit, so we had to back off.
He's being a real twerp about it, Joe. It's all about youth and agility and streamlining and trying to squeeze out the older people.
He's such a snake.
Well,
I hope he gets hit with an ageism suit.
what is that word?
Ageism? Yeah, the companies, they can't discriminate against people due to old age.
Michael listens intently as the camera focuses on him, and he responds with an unintelligible line, comedically diminishing the previous statement by Jan.
So older people have just as many rights as younger people?
Yes.
And then, that was it. So how did Ed Truck die? I think he was murdered by someone at Dunder Mifflin, or maybe a hired consultant to put an end to the threatened case by Ed Truck, which would put a financial burden on an already struggling company. So then there's the problem of who killed Ed Truck. There isn't a lot of evidence here, but there is this.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt. I need to see Pam. There seems to be like something wrong with her radiator in her car.
Okay, fine. Hurry back.
In an isolated scene with Roy during the grief counseling, the name of the episode, at 10:40, Roy pulls Pam from the meeting saying there's something wrong with the radiator in her car. He looks sort of rough, like he'd been awake for a while. He then asks about her new car and if it had airbags, and if she is still driving it really fast. That's it.
How you liking the new car? Sure is small. Got airbags?
I think so.
Well, you're still not driving so fast, are you?
Roy pulls her from the meeting, asks about her new car, airbags, and driving speed. End scene with Roy. Why did he specifically say her car had radiator problems just to get her out of a meeting? Why does Pam have a new car? Did Roy use her car and wreck it, causing the airbags to inflate as the radiator was smashed in?
There's nothing wrong with your car. Just thought you might want a break from the grief counseling session.
How did he even know this meeting was taking place? Why was the scene even incorporated into the episode? It seems like it would have been just as complete without it. So that tells me this scene has a purpose. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe he received compensation to carry out the hit. Who knows? There isn't enough evidence to believe one way or another. But we know this: Ed Truck wasn't just decapitated, he was murdered. Let me know what you think. Have any other lesser known theories? Let me know in the comments and subscribe and check out one of my other videos. Thanks for watching.
Did you check its breathing?
It was obvious.
Was its heart beating? Toby, did you check it? No, of course you did. You're not a veterinarian. You don't know anything!